Yahoo, Mahoutoro desu. Welcome back, everyone. I'm glad that you clicked on this next video, or maybe you're joining for the first time. I don't know, but I'm glad that you clicked on it. I'm very happy to see you. I can't see you. I'm very happy that you're here. Anyway, so like I mentioned before in the last video, I'm reading a book called 5分後に意外な結末-赤い悪魔, which is roughly translated to after about 5 minutes there's a very interesting conclusion, and this is the red version, the red book. If in case this is your first time clicking on the video, this is essentially an anthology series, and there's a lot of really neat stories. And in the last video we talked about a bartender who turned out to be able to do just about anything, to the point of murdering people and becoming an assassin. And in the second story we talked about a window, or rather a screen door, that allowed some not so friendly visitors to come by, but at least that's what the main character thought. Really, it was just a nothing. And, well, if you want to find out more, you go check that out. Anyway, here today, on this video, we're going to talk about the third and fourth story. So, let's get started. Here we go. Let's dive in. Third story is called, I'm going to bring it up here. Past editing me can bring up the name, the author, the person who wrote it. If you please, past me, thank you. So this next story is called Chichi no Jikyu, which essentially translates to my dad's daily earnings, or my dad's hourly wage. Something along those lines. I'm gonna be honest, this story was a little sad. I knew it was going to be somewhat sad when I was reading it, but it's just kind of that thing where it's like you see it coming and then it hits and you're like, ow, that really hurt. That hurt me right in the feelings. So, anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and get this going. Let's get going. Here we go. Let's get started. So, our story starts here with explaining. Our story starts here by explaining that we have a man. Again, there's no name. Like I mentioned in the last video, sometimes we just won't get a name for the characters in the stories. So we have a man. He is described to be a very, very hard-working businessman. He is essentially your typical late night working salary man, something very prominent here in Japan, with many business people running around long hours, late nights, almost never seeing their family, very few days off, that kind of thing. So this guy, I think it mentions he only has really, I want to say he only sees his kid during the hours of the night when he gets home, and by that point he's already asleep. Same with his wife. His wife is already asleep, and then when he wakes up the next morning, he's waking up so early that his kid hasn't even woken up yet, nor has his wife, I don't think, and he doesn't even really get to play with them at all. I think maybe he mentions that they have one day off. I don't really remember, but the point is he never sees his kid. He never sees his wife and kids. His life is only work, leftovers for when he gets home that his wife made for him, and the TV for however many small amounts of hours he gets to enjoy the TV, and then he just goes to sleep, wakes up, and does the whole thing over again. So pretty sad life. But anyway, well, in my opinion, that sounds like a very boring sad life. But anyway, a life nonetheless. So one day he comes home and the lights are on. He goes, that's weird. So he comes in, and his son is just sitting on the couch, which is surprising to him. Usually he's asleep, and I think like it's maybe midnight, maybe past midnight. So he looks at his son, and he asks him, "Why are you up so late? Why are you here past midnight, waiting for me to come home?" And his son says, "Dad, how much money do you make?" Which is a pretty blunt question for coming from a 5-year-old, but the man doesn't really think much of it. He just kind of thinks to himself like, "Oh, this is probably a nothing thing. The kids at school are probably having a contest to see whose dad makes the most money or something, and whatever. I don't want to give the kid any, like, I don't want to influence this. I don't want this to become a fighting thing. Like, I don't want this to come into a fight between friends, or I don't want him to have a big head about his family being rich if he ends up being, if I happen to make more than the other family's fathers or what have you, I don't want to get involved with this. I'm not gonna. He's just kind of. I'm not gonna get involved with this. Go to bed. Just he tries to get his kid to bed. And the kid says, "No, Dad, how much money do you make? I really want to know. Please tell me. I won't go to bed until you tell me." And the dad is kind of exhausted from working so long, and he's just like, "Okay, fine, whatever. I make like, I don't know, $30 an hour, something like that." So he just he just throws a number out there, like kind of guesstimates it, and the kid kind of gets this wide-eyed, like, amazing, like, he's like, "Whoa, $30 an hour, wow, that's amazing." It's kind of described like that. He gets wide-eyed. He's like, "Wow, $30." So he goes, "Okay, go to bed." And he goes to bed. So kid goes to bed. Goes to sleep. Night goes on as normal. He goes back to work. Next night, comes home. The lights are on again. Or rather, maybe it's not the next night. I don't think it says it's directly the next night, but a few nights later, future. Lights are on. Comes home. This time his mom or rather his wife, excuse me. The kid's mom, his wife. His wife is up, and she's waiting for him. And he goes, "Oh boy, what happened? What's going on?" And the wife says, "You know what your son did today? You know what he did today? He was asking me for money." And he goes, "What the hell? Why would he do that?" And he goes, "Yeah, he wouldn't stop." She says he wouldn't stop bugging me about lending, like just having me lend him $10 or something. Like, he at first he tried to like bargain with me. He tried to like say like, I'll do this for a month. I'll do this and that. Just give me $10. And eventually, I just kind of gave up on it because it got really annoying. I was like, "Okay, whatever. Here, it's fine. Here's $10. Just stop." Then he started going to the neighbors and started asking them for money. And the dad, at this point, is like, he was kind of annoyed at first, but now he's like, "Oh, what the hell? Why is he asking the neighbors for money? What is this? Is gonna make it? Is he begging for money? Like, does he think that we're poor? Is it because I told him how much money we make, and maybe the other kids' dads make more money? Does he think we're poor? Like, does he think that he has a hard life? What the hell?" And he starts getting really mad because he works his ass off to get paid like that much, and now I guess he feels inferior about it or something. He's getting really mad about it. It's like, "Oh, this is not gonna happen. I'm not gonna have this. No, we're not doing this." So she says, "Can you wake the kid up? Wake the kid up. I want to talk to him." So mom goes to wake him up. And when the kid comes over, he comes over, and he sees that everyone's awake. Like, he says his mom is awake, his dad is awake. They're all in the living room. They're all waiting for him. And he gets just this huge smile. He's like, "Oh, yes. why are we all awake? Why are we all awake? Are we doing something? What's happening? What's happening? And the dad, you know, he didn't notice that his dad was really peeved, so he's, you know, suddenly his dad yells at him. He's like, oh, you sit down right now. And then suddenly the kid's grin goes away. It's replaced with a frown. It's like, oh no, something wrong. Something happened. I did something wrong. What happened? So he sits down, and the dad starts scolding him. He's like, why are you going around asking the neighbors for money? What are you doing? Is this life not good enough for you? Do we not give you enough toys? Like, we give you toys, we feed you. You have a small allowance that we give you every so often. What, is that not good enough? Why are you asking people for money? Is it really that bad? Why, you know, like, and then he starts getting into like the value of $1, what it means to work hard and earn money. And he's not even really giving his kid a chance to talk. He's just scolding him and saying things like you don't even know what sacrifice is. You don't know what it's like to work hard and earn something. You're essentially just skipping the hard part and getting money the easy way. That's what you plan to do, right? That's what you think hard work is. You don't understand what hard work is. You're just a kid. You'll never understand, not until you're older. You have to work. Working is what it means to earn a daily wage. That's what it means to be an adult. And his kid starts crying, and he starts crying, and so then the wife kind of even gives him a face, like gives the husband a space, like, wow, that was, you know, you think you went a little too far there, man. And he kind of realized, like, oh man, I just like destroyed my kid in the same way I would like treat one of my lowers, I was gonna say underlings, but one of my lower staff or what have you. And he kind of takes a step back. And he's like, oh, so I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to yell at you. I didn't mean to be that way, but you gotta stop asking the neighbors for money. That's gonna raise some questions or something. Like, it's gonna make us look really bad, so you gotta stop doing that. And the kid just kind of starts to stop crying, and he's like, okay, you know, he's like, I'll stop. And so the dad says, why were you asking for money anyway? Like, why were you doing that? Why were you doing that? And so the kid gets a big smile again. He's like, oh, yay, I wanna show you, yay. And so he like runs upstairs, and he brings down a piggy bank, and he opens up the piggy bank, and he opens it up in his dad's hands. All the coins fall out into his hands, and and the kid goes. The kid says, "Look, I raised up $30. I even asked the neighbors if they can help me out, and I got $30. If I give you $30, can we play together for an hour? Is that like can you do that?" And the dad he doesn't know what to say. He drops the money to the floor, and he just starts crying, like and just like, oh my god. For personally, I read that story and I was like, oh, I know this is coming. I feel this coming. Kid's gonna pay off his hour, and he's gonna ask him to play. But I didn't. Oh man, like when I read it through, it hit me a little bit, and I was like, oh, that sucks. So that one was a little short. It was a very short story, but it was very nice. It was very, very well written. It was nice. But yeah, it was fun. So makes you think, right? Like it really does suck when you have a crappy job like that, where you're just working constantly and you don't get to see anybody, and it's not a fun time. I've worked some pretty crappy jobs too. It's like, I don't know. You just gotta find time for yourself, you know. Do what makes you happy. Try to spend time with your family. Please. Okay. Next story. Here we go. Let's jump in. So, editing me, I guess put up the author's name. Here we go. This title is called Shiawase Graph, which translates to the graph of happiness, or something along those lines, like a basically like the graph of happiness, or like a happy graph, you know. I would say probably the graph of happiness is probably a better description. Okay, so this one's a fun one. I actually really like this one. This one, well, okay, let's just get into it. So this time we have a name. This guy's name is Charlie. Or excuse me, Cherry. Cherry? Charlie. Cherry. Charlie. I'm gonna call him Charlie. I think it's Cherry. But I don't think I know anyone named Cherry. Maybe it's a European name. Maybe let me know. I don't know. I'm gonna call him Charlie. So Charlie, he is described as one of the smartest, the best, the most well-read, the most, I guess maybe not unique, but like, he essentially never fails. He never fails at anything. He's essentially superhuman in that way. His luck is amazing. He's never had anything wrong happen to him. He's never failed at anything. He's never lost anything. And lost, I mean by like losing a game, losing a test, or losing anything. He has the best life. Like if you can imagine someone with the best life, he has that life. He has the best life. Nothing bad ever happens to him. And he has no one who envies him. He has no one who rivals him. Even trained professionals in science and sports and art and everything, all of the pros in that area, even like lower their head to him because he's so good. He's so good at doing everything. If he doesn't know how to do it, he'll learn it fast and he'll do it better than you. Like he's that good. He does everything amazing. And because of this, he seems bored. He's like, I don't know, like what do I even do with my life? Like I feel so unsatisfied. Like what is this? Is this even happiness? Like people say, like they tell me all the time, like, wow, dude, you have the best life. Like if I had your life, I would be so happy. And all he can say is, I don't feel complete. I feel like everything is just given to me. I don't feel happiness at all. It's not satisfying. So he's trying to find something he can put his life into. He's trying to find the meaning of his life. Like he's like most people, right? Like he's trying to find, like, what do I do? What do I do with this perfect life that I have? What do I do? Woe is me. So he decides, okay, well, I'll just try looing through as many random things that I can find. Like I will use the rest of my life to find that answer. And so I believe he goes off looking for an answer in science books. He tries to look through physics books, chemistry books. He goes through multiple forms of what was it? Philosophy, etc. Like he goes through philosophy books. He keeps searching, and eventually, he runs into a horoscope book or a fortune telling. And at first he was just kind of like, nah, this isn't scientific. This isn't real. This is dumb. Like, I'm not gonna waste my time with this. But then on a whim, he just kind of felt, he was like, screw it. What the hell? Maybe it'll be funny. You know, like maybe I can get a laugh out of this. So he starts reading it. You know, he learns a little bit about how horoscopes work, I guess, you know, where how it essentially tells the person I'm not gonna say it tells them their fortune, but it tells them, it informs the person whether or not their life within a certain time period is going to be good or not, right? It informs him, what kind of things to watch out for, what's your lucky number, etc. If you've read a fortune cookie or a fortune horoscope or whatever, then you know what I'm talking about, right? So, this to him is like a new thing, or rather, he's heard of it, but he's never really like looked into it in super good detail. So he's just kind of like, oh, this is silly. This is what nothing can tell you your future. This is nonsense. Reading the stars, ha. And then he stops and he thinks, but what if though? But what if something could tell you the future? What if something could accurately, scientifically tell you exactly how your life is going to turn out? Not in a detailed sense. Not in the way that this is telling you, like, you're going to be rich, you're going to find love, etc., etc. But instead, it'll show you on maybe like a graph where the high and low points of your life will be. It's going to tell you, like, within this year you'll have a high point, but this year you'll have a low point. Your highest point in your entire life is going to be here. Your lowest point is here. And like I said, it won't have specific details, but it'll tell you in general what to watch out for. And he goes, maybe if science can be applied to so many different factoids in the past, and with much development eventually become everyday things, why not this? And he gives an example, like, he talks about how in the past, what people who used to try to figure out what the weather for tomorrow was, the tribesmen or whoever the native peoples of the long past or what have you, used to look at the stars and judge the weather by I don't know, what did he say, the moon and etc. And that's how they tried to tell the weather. And now we tell the weather through satellites and the atmospheric pressure, etc. Like, we do it scientifically. Why can't this be any different? Like, maybe if we just apply enough science, then we'll be able to tell the future. Let's just inject more science. So he says, that's it. That's what my life goal is. I've decided. My life goal is that I'm going to apply as much of the scientific method that I can humanly do into finding what the peaks and valleys of one's fortune could be. So he goes off and does it. He finds more philosophy books. He picks up a part-time job as a college professor. He home tutors people. He works at odd jobs to raise money for his research, because even though he's a science professor, other professors within his field think that the thing he's researching is silly, just like he did a few days ago. But he says, no, I'm going to do it. So he personally saves up enough money for the research. I think it takes him, let me see, it says here, I want to say about 20 plus years. Let me see. Yeah, it takes him about 20 plus years to finally complete his project. And the day of completion, he says, finally, I'm going to do it. I'm going to test it. I'll be the one to test it. So he pulls the lever, and the graph starts going, and it starts cranking. The machine starts turning. And eventually, once it stops, the graph starts forming. And at first, it starts with a straight line. It's just kind of dull. It's a straight line. He goes, this is the time before I started working on the project. So this maybe is correct, because I felt like, because it's supposed to be within one's perspective, not necessarily whether or not another person considers that life to be great or not. So if you yourself find your life not so interesting, then it should reflect that in the graph. That's the way it's supposed to work. So he's thinking, it's a straight line, and I remember not being very happy during that time, so maybe this is correct. And then suddenly it goes up and up and up and up, and he realizes that's the time I started working on the project. Oh, this must be going right. But I was fine. Like, the more I worked on the project, the more I felt like my life had meaning. It's going up. The best part of my life is going up, and eventually it peaks, and it's the day of. It's the year he finishes the project. It gets to the very top and it peaks, and he goes, "I've done it. This is it. I've finally made a machine that can tell you the future." And then from that point, it just goes down and down and down and down, and it doesn't stop going down. It keeps going down until the day that supposedly he dies, which is around 70 years or so from now, or what have you. And he goes, why is it going down? Shouldn't it be peaks and valleys? Why is it going straight down? What is this? This is nonsense. Why? And it's not until after, when he realizes that within a person's life, the best time of that person's life, the most interesting time of that person's life, is when they're chasing a dream. The minute that dream has come to fruition, there's nothing else left. Which is essentially where that story ends. It's pretty interesting. Very fun. Very true in some cases, maybe to some people. So there you go. And I think that was pretty fast. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. I got one more for you. This one's really short. This one's maybe like a page or two long. It's not very long. So let's do this one. This is a good one too. So here we go. I'm gonna put the author up on the screen there. So here we go. This one is called Kuseki, which essentially translates into the empty seat. The empty seat. So here we go. Let's go. So we got another person. It's a nameless man. So here we go. It's a nameless person, and it describes that he's been waiting for a very long time for a concert, a very specific concert. This concert is a musical orchestra concert, and apparently the conductor for this orchestra had long since thought to be retired because he became, I guess, ill. It doesn't really specify, but essentially he became not able to pick up his staff or what have you, or maybe he just retired or something. He essentially, people thought he wouldn't be conducting anymore, and turns out he's coming back for an encore. This is like his final debut or whatever. I don't know how you describe it. Anyway, so he he's coming back. He's coming back for an encore. One more time, one last time, do one more concert. So people are getting really excited, him included. He pre-ordered the tickets. He got them in the mail. He got really lucky, and he is so excited for this concert that the day of, he goes like 12 hours prior to the concert to line up. And he just reads a flyer and looks at a poster the whole time at the beginning, like at the entrance of the building, of the concert hall, just waiting. And then by the time the doors open, he like jogs to his seat because he's so excited. Like, he didn't mean to jog, but he's so excited he just like jogs to his seat. And his seat happens to be one of the super exclusive front row seats that are very difficult to get. You had to like pay super, extra amounts of money for it, and he decided to go ahead and do that. And so he's sitting there, and the concert is almost it's almost curtain call, or it's almost time to start. And he notices that the whole building to this point is basically full. It's a full house. There's no seat that is left not filled, except for the one to his left. This is the only seat that is empty. It's the only one. And he is so baffled, so perplexed, that anyone in their right mind would even miss something like this. You kind of get a feel for this guy's attitude. It really seems like he doesn't care about anything else other than this conductor's music. And he's just like, who in their right mind? Who in their right mind would actually miss this? You'd have to be stupid, like, to miss this concert. This concert is life. Like, I don't understand. What better things could you do than see this concert in life? This is anyway. So he looks over and he leans over to the next seat to the left, so like maybe one seat over from that. And he leans over and he goes, "Man, who would miss this concert? Who would reserve this seat and then just not come? Like who would do that? Do you know?" And the guy is a very elderly man, and he very calmly, without looking at him, he just kind of says, "It's my wife. It's my wife's seat." And so the guy, like he says, she wasn't able to come. And the other man says, well, do you mind? What exactly? Why did she miss it? What happened?" And he says, "Just before today, we were both waiting for this day to come, and we were very excited to come together. But just, I think last week, I think is what he said. I think just last week or just a few days ago, she died, so she wasn't able to come." And so suddenly the initial person, the person that was excited for the concert, he kind of gets like a wave of like, oof, I stepped into that one. Oof, oh man, I feel like I did a bad, oof. Just for a second, he's like, he feels a little bit of self-consciousness, like, oh, ooh. But then that immediately goes away because he then the next immediate thought in this guy's head is, oh, okay, I mean, she died, but like you could have totally like given this seat to someone else though, right? Like who in their right mind would miss it? Like this guy's personality, I swear. So he thinks to himself like surely you could have just given this ticket to someone else and graced them with the opportunity to see this concert. Like, why didn't you do that? Like he actually kind of gets offended at that fact. Like, why didn't you do that? I don't understand. So he asks him. He's like, surely you could have asked somebody, like somebody in your family, somebody your friends. And he says, "Well, I'm gonna be honest with you." And as he's saying this, like the curtain call is happening, like the whole stadium is starting to dim and the concert's about to start. And so he's like, "I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought about it, but honestly, I feel like they have better things to do. I understand too. I understand why they wouldn't take the offer, so I didn't really bother." And the guy, again, he's just so perplexed. He's like, he feels offended from that response, and he's just like, why would you do that? Why? What better thing? Like, why? And he goes, "Well, honestly, today is my wife's funeral. So they're my friends, my family, as well as her friends and her family. They're all at the funeral right now." And then the concert starts. And the story ends with the man who was excited for the concert could see just through the dim lights on the stage. He could see the smile on the old man's face, and from that alone he can understand just how much he loves music, or at least this person's concert. Anyways, it was, oh my god, it was so silly. But yeah, I thought that one was a good story too. Very short, but it was very nice. I liked it. Anyway, so there you go. We got three stories out of that. That was good. Okay. Well, thanks for dropping by. I'm glad you came by. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, to my knowledge, these books aren't translated into English, and I feel like more people should know about them. They're very good stories. They're very nice. So, hopefully I'll see you again next time. And have a nice day. Mata koya ne.